Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm another one of your hosts, Zach.
I'm a host, Jeff.
And today we finally get to talk about some of our Gen Con haul after we've had a week to kind of dig into them and play them.
You certainly aren't playing anything at Gen Con.
That is true.
No.
Well, certainly not anything we bought.
That's true. Yeah, the only ones I played were pretty much the ones I brought there.
Yeah.
So
I played Agricola at Gen Con.
yeah, I played the networks and stockpile. There we go.
Staying on the cutting edge.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Only owned Agricola for like 8 years.
Well, I will say that the games I brought were Kickstarter ones that they were sort of released at Gen Con, so it felt good enough. Apparently, the network sold out in Gen Con.
No, that at least made sense for you.
I brought Scythe.
Yeah, you did.
I set it up once and then didn't play it.
You even set it. I thought you just.
Bob set it up.
Oh, he actually
Yeah,
did.
and then we didn't play it.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
But you all already know that because we talked about it last week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what have we finally got to dig into? Jeff, what did you get to dig into from your Gen Con haul?
So I had 2 game nights this week. I went to our Wednesday thing and then a Sunday thing. Wednesday, I did Secret Hitler, and that was super fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to shoot Bob in the face.
What, because he was Hitler, or just because?
At the end, he ended up being Hitler.
Oh, nice.
Which I had found out he was a fascist at the very beginning, and I was just like, murder him. I want to shoot him right in his stupid Hitler mustache. And no one would murder him the whole game. No murders.
None.
Everyone was murdering not the right people, but
so why weren't they murdering Bob?
I don't know. I don't think they believed that I was liberal, even though someone like saw that I was liberal and I saw that Bob was fascist.
Right.
And I was like, we know he's fascist. Shoot him in his stupid face. And I had a couple beers in me and was yelling that a lot.
We heard that from the other room.
Yeah.
It was pretty great.
Just shoot him! Shoot him! It was like the beginning of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Shoot So Secret Hitler, it was the first time I had played it because it had
how are
print
the
and play.
components in that new box?
Those components are fancy.
Yeah.
They are very nice.
Yeah,
I did the fancy Kickstarter wooden box edition, but all versions come with the nice wooden president and chancellor and all the really thick, nice cardboard.
I really did like those. I didn't think it was actually going to be that. When I first opened it, I was like, oh shit, these are actual like nameplate things.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Everything's really thick cardstock. During the Kickstarter, they were like, well, does everyone want a really long box or do they want folded pieces? And everyone almost unanimously was like, do not fold them. Make it a long box.
Yeah.
And that really helped out a ton. And they're just so nice.
Yeah.
So Secret Hitler was print and play for a long time, which I had never played. So I have only played with the official version.
Nice.
Yeah. I like how in the wooden box it doesn't even say Secret Hitler. It's just like the couple. Those couple of...
It's like liberal, fascist, and like a knife or something.
Yeah, it was just nice and minimalistic. Then you go, ooh, what is this? And you actually open up, and then it has the actual box in there.
Yeah.
So that box, is that what the actual game will look like? That orange box, or is it...
Yes.
Okay.
And then the wood box was a special addition for the Kickstarter.
Yes.
Cool.
But every copy will look like that nice interior box.
Yes.
Another cool thing that I read in the rulebook is you can modify, change... make your own game out of those pieces and publish them how you wish.
Oh, that's cool.
Under a common license.
Creative Commons.
Creative Commons license, yep. Which is super cool.
Yeah,
the only thing
awesome.
you just have to say, like, hey, I got it from Secret Hitler, but feel free to make this game however you want.
Right.
Which I thought was really cool. And a lot of Cards Against Humanity guys do that. Where, like, which is why there's so many Cards Against Humanity knockoffs.
Yes,
but,
there are.
Colorado Against
Colorado
Humanity,
one,
which was...
Cats Against Humanity.
Crabs Just Humidity. Yep. So I will say...
I had never heard of that one.
No, so I will say, I've played Secret Hitler a couple times, and it was a couple months ago when I did. But one thing I really liked about it is, unlike, in the Resistance, when you're a good guy, you're always going to play mission success.
Yes.
No matter what, because literally the game says you can't play mission failure.
Yep.
Whereas with Secret Hitler, because you get, like, say someone gives you, the 2 fascist policies, you're like, well, I know I'm a good guy, but I had to play this. And so I was like, well, is that true? Or was he a liar and his pants on fire? I like that it actually has a bit of ambiguity into it.
And whoever passed that to you could have gotten 3 and said, like, all I got was 3. I had to give you 2.
Exactly.
Which is the cool part.
And so you have 2 people who are like, is he a liar?
Yeah.
Is he a liar? Or are both of them liars?
Yep.
Yeah.
The game really came down to like our last 3 cards. Like hopefully there was I always want to call it pacifist, liberal. If there was a liberal in there, we were going to win. If there was all 3 fascist, we were going to lose.
Right.
Because we had gotten down to 5 and 5. And it was that last play that was going to win the game.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning.
Nice.
Off of liberal agendas, not shooting Hitler.
Okay, there you go.
Which we would have done had anyone shot fucking Bob in the face.
Right, yeah.
I imagine we're going to hear about that for a while.
Yeah.
Shoot Bob in the face.
Shoot him right in the stupid Hitler mustache. So I played Secret Hitler. I didn't really play anything else at game night. I sleeved all my Star Realms expansions.
I saw that, yeah.
Which is a lengthy experience. And then on Sunday, I went to our more, longer form game.
Technically,
meetup.
it's more for like Magic and card games.
Like 2-player card games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Netrunner, those sort of things.
But I've also seen a lot longer form games get brought out there, too.
Yes.
For people that don't like Magic Gathering like myself,
Yeah.
fuck that game. CCGs in general, not Magic specifically.
Okay.
I played Starcraft, the board game, the 2008 version, I think, which
Okay.
is the only one that exists.
Yes.
But I have owned that game for a long time. Probably only played it once or twice. A friend of ours, Heather, same cosplay champion from Gen Con, had brought it to Gen Con. We never got a chance to play it, so we brought it out and played it. 3-player game. I got there at 12:30.
How many people does it play?
It plays up to 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 6, because there's 12 planets. Everyone gets 2 planets. And
Oh,
6
okay.
players. I got there at 12:30. Everything was packed up, and we were headed out at 7 p.m.
Jeez.
We didn't start right away because we were waiting on a possible 4th
Okay.
who ended up not being able to play. So we played with 3 players.
Okay.
She had played before a long time ago. I had played before a long time ago. So we sort of had a gist of it.
Gotcha.
And that game is really cool and has a lot of cool mechanics.
Okay.
But is just very long and has that Fantasy Flight, like, where does this one word fit in this rule book and where else is it?
Right.
Like, I need to know where assist is everywhere in that rule book.
Yeah. So I saw
Yeah.
that one of the guys that helped make it, Christian Peterson, the head of Fantasy Flight, is also the guy that made Twilight Imperium, the 3rd edition.
Okay.
They do have some similarities.
Well, but not even for that. Just to I know that he can make complex, deep games that can take forever. So the fact that it takes a long time, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like you have all of your StarCraft units. So you have Zerglings and Marines and Protoss and stuff like that. And then you line up into different skirmishes where there's like 1-on-1 times however many units you have. So if you attack with 6 and they have 4, you'll have 4 skirmishes. And then you'll have 2 supports.
Okay.
Then you play cards that have attack and defense values, and the actual units themselves don't really do anything except have icons on the cards that you play to give them a major number versus a minor number.
Right.
Could be like a 2-2, but if you have the Marine on the card, it's a 5-5. So you can play it down anyways, but it's better if you play it if you have a Marine on the front line.
Okay.
It's also a game where if you're like in Twilight Imperium, you can sort of sit back and do your political game, and you don't have to have a big fleet and attack at each other.
There's sort of different ways you can win. You can go technology or just yeah.
If you sit back in StarCraft, someone is going to win, and it's not going to be you. Like, you have to attack, you have to assault, you have to, like, people's planets are split up into 2 to 4 sectors, and you can share planets with other people and have multiple bases on there. So you almost sort of feel like a dick for like attacking someone all the time, but this is the kind of game where you like have to be aggressive. And if you're not that aggressive kind of player, it's a hard game to really do. Like myself, like my victory was like hold 2 planets or hold 6 areas that make resources. But I will win the game if it gets to stage 3. And then you can win the game before that if you get to 15 conquest points. But I had 0 conquest points that whole game. So I had to stop other people from getting conquest points to make it to stage 3 to where I would immediately win.
Gotcha.
Which I did not do.
So, quick question. Are you playing as a different races?
Yes, so there's Zerg, Protoss, Terran, and then there's 2 factions for each one of those races.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, because you said it was 6 players. We're like, I thought there was only 3 races.
Yeah, there is 3 races, but there's 2 factions in each race. Like there's the bad guy humans and good guy humans. Then there's the Overlord for the Zerg and the Queen of Blades, Kerrigan for...
Okay.
And then there's the Tassadar, the one Protoss guy you've heard of, and then someone that I totally forgot existed, and that they needed to put someone else's name on the Protoss team.
Nice.
Like Aldaris or something. I'm sure a StarCraft nerd knows that.
So the 2 human ones, do they actually have unique between themselves?
They have unique special victory conditions,
Okay.
and then slightly different setup,
Okay.
like 7 workers versus 8 workers, and maybe they'll get an extra marine
Okay.
or something like that. But nothing drastically different in how they play.
Is there a different between the races?
Yes,
Okay.
very much
Okay.
so between the races.
Good.
They'll all have their own tech deck, their own combat deck that are different between the races,
Okay, that's good.
which is nice.
Right.
Lots of crazy like building upgrades and module slots. Everyone has different units, build limits, and how they do
Okay.
that because Protoss have to build more pylons, supply depots for Terrans. But Zerg don't have that. They have twice as many of different kinds of buildings as they have built as their unit.
Okay.
So if they build their spire or spawning pool or whatever, their as many units as they can build a turn goes up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's sort of built into their buildings. And then you'll unlock more units that you can buy, and they're all the StarCraft ones like Goliaths and battlecruisers.
Right.
And the technology deck is the combat cards for those more advanced units. So you won't have battlecruiser cards, a lot of those in your combat deck, but as you buy those technologies, you will get those.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's a long game.
So I know sometimes longer games like Twilight, Imperium, or even Eclipse sometimes actually feel like they're dragging on, whereas there's other long games. So there's some
Like
games.
Rebellion.
Yes. There's a
Yeah,
perfect one.
Rebellion flies by.
Yes.
Where's
StarCraft's
this?
in the middle.
Okay.
Because we were reading a lot of rules to be like, what is assist? Why doesn't assist have combat values? What does assist do? Does assist actually be useful for anything? And we
Gotcha.
couldn't really find an answer
Right.
to that. Besides, if everyone in the front line wipes each other out, the assists will still be there to be able to claim the planet if
Okay.
everyone else is dead.
Gotcha.
And there are other assists that do stuff. And there's, cloaking and detector and all of the crazy StarCraft stuff.
Right.
And on top of all of the mineral resource management that you get with the game and workers and
Okay.
yeah, it's
Right on.
definitely an interesting game. Out of print and
Yeah.
really expensive.
If you're not a StarCraft player, like someone who's not invested in the theme,
Yeah.
do you think the game will still hold up on its own, or do you feel that you would actually sort of it helps if you're a player,
If you're
or
gonna-
if you're someone who is into that?
If you love StarCraft, StarCraft's a great game.
Okay.
If you're looking for a heavy game to play like this,
Yeah.
get Twilight Imperium or Forbidden Stars.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's probably why Fantasy Flight hasn't reprinted it since like 2009.
Gotcha. Yeah, I heard that Forbidden Stars just basically it's a more streamlined version in a way.
And I haven't played
of StarCraft.
Forbidden Stars,
Yeah.
but I've also heard that it's just a better version of StarCraft.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I also love 40K
Yeah.
with all my heart.
So-
I really want to get that game, but it's like, I guess I would be the only one that would own it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else owns Rebellion. Maybe
Yes.
I'll get fucking
There we
Forbidden
go.
Stars.
There you go.
There you
Then
go.
you have to get through me to play. But it's like, all right, let's sit down for another 5-hour game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
When
not,
we could
I'm
just
not
play-
against that.
Yeah, which we could just play Rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thumb up on StarCraft,
Right on.
but it's still not a bad game.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Right on. Well, I only get up really play games. I played games on Wednesday, and then I played games over the weekend at my grandparents' house. And both times, the main game I got to play that I was really excited about, or I picked up at Gen Con, was Mystic Vale. And I loved it both times.
Yeah.
Even though the first time I got thoroughly wrecked
By who?
Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's real excited
By
about
who?
that.
Yeah. Mm.
It shouldn't shock anyone
No.
who listens to this podcast. The first time playing, I definitely pressed my luck a little bit too much, and so I spoiled pretty regularly.
Do you want to tell them what it's actually how to play the game?
Yeah, so
'Cause I
Because
helped
it's
you.
it's an actually a unique
It's
game.
pretty unique.
So
I helped you build it, but I have not yet played it.
no, yeah.
So the way Mystic Vale plays is it's 2 to 4 players, and everybody starts with a deck of 20 cards. And in those 20 cards, you have some blanks and some that have good things and bad things. And so at the start of your turn, you have a bunch of cards flipped over already to the point where there's 2 cards that have a spoil icon in your play area, and then there's one on the top of your deck showing. If you ever have 4 showing, then you spoil and you immediately discard your whole hand and don't get to do anything.
Yep.
So if you, on the start of your turn, if you want to keep playing, if you want more points to buy things with or take actions with, you kind of have to press your luck by taking that top card from your deck that you know is already a bad one, putting it in your play area, so now you have 3 in your play area, and then you flip the next card in your deck over, and if it's got that symbol, then you're screwed. Otherwise, if it's not, then you're good, and you can decide to do that again and just keep pressing your luck. The thing I didn't really pick up on until a little bit too late the first time I played is that in that 20 card starter deck, there's 9 spoil icons.
Yep.
So if you keep track of how many you've flipped, then you can know, oh, I've got 4 cards left in my deck. Well, I've only flipped 6 spoils, so 3 out of those 4 are going to fuck me.
Oh, yeah. When we were playing in that first game, there's definitely multiple times where I look through my discard pile and I look through the ones I have, and I'm like, oh, I see all 9 of those, the spoil icons. So I know the rest of my deck doesn't have them.
Yep.
So, I'm going to push my luck. Oh, I'm going to push my luck. Oh, I'm going to push my luck.
Yeah. Whereas I didn't catch on to that quite as early, and so I would a couple times early I pressed my luck and spoiled, which then got me behind, which then made me more risky to where it'd be like, oh, I'm down to my last 4 cards and I know there's 1 spoil. That's only a 25% chance. I'll push my I spoiled.
Yeah.
The second time around, though, I did a much better job of buying the cards from the center. So the other aspect of this game is of all those cards you have, they have 3 tiers, a top, a middle, and a bottom. And
card
you can
creation.
Card crafting.
And so it's card crafting. You buy from the center abilities that go into one of those 3 slots on each card. So towards the end of the game, a lot of your cards will have 3 abilities on them and will be a really powerful card. Whereas at the beginning, they all only start with at most 1, and a lot of them have none.
Exactly.
So the second time I did a good job of buying abilities that neutralize those spoil cards and put them with a lot of mine. So by the end of the game, I only had like 4 cards in my entire deck that actually had active spoil tokens.
Yeah.
And I just was able to just
go
through my deck ridiculously fast.
What's the length on that game?
About an hour and a half.
Yeah, depending on how many people are playing and if they are new or not.
Seems breaking down your crafted deck seems like it would take a while.
It actually goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the nice thing about the game is your entire deck has sleeves.
Yeah.
So when you buy those new cards, you just put them in whichever open spot that you can. Obviously, if you buy something that's on the lower tier, you can't put it on a spot that already has a lower tier.
You can't cover any existing tier. So you can't get rid of a bad tier by covering it with a good one.
Aha.
Yeah. And so something that I learned when I played that first time is, especially on the cards that you know are good, just make them super powerful.
Yeah.
Because then you have that one card and you're like, yeah, I got it. Bam, 5 points, please. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a really good game. It's been on my radar for a while. Right around the time we were starting this podcast is the time that all the review copies were going out. And so I was at the time following a lot of podcasts and a lot of review groups on Twitter and stuff. And so I saw these people getting it and I was like, damn, I want this cool new game. And then as reviews came out, some of them were kind of mixed and stuff. So I was a little hesitant. But at Gen Con last day, I swung by AEG. They still had some there. And Megan was like, I like the artwork on that. Go for it. Let's get it. Screw it. Sounds like an interesting mechanic. The artwork looks good. Buy it. And I was like, okay. If you're going to encourage me to be fiscally irresponsible, then sure.
That art looks pretty. That's all the excuse I needed.
And
Thank you.
So Mystic Vale put me over my budget for Gen Con, but it ended up being well worth it. I really enjoy that game.
What's a budget?
And they've already announced an expansion for it, which I'm pretty excited about. Will definitely be pretty much a day one pickup for me.
Do you know what it's going to have at all?
As far as I know right now, just more cards.
Okay. So I will say the one thing I don't like is that there's no interactivity between players, at least from what you're basically playing solitaire.
Yeah, it's kind of like Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah,
that's a major criticism that some people have for Race. That's never bothered me with Race. I don't mind playing 4-player solitaire.
Right. I don't for certain. I don't know. I just feel like some of those cards, because there's all that spoilage and stuff, that I feel that there's an untapped market towards me playing this card makes it you have to draw a card on your turn.
Yeah.
Or something that it's just.
I think that might be a bit too aggressive, especially the way the flipping mechanic works to where you automatically start one shy of spoiling.
Well, I mean, in the sense that it would be you have to flip it. You have to flip another card, but say if it's a spoilage or something, you don't lose it, but you can't. You wouldn't be able to push your luck any farther or something like that.
Yeah. It wouldn't vaguely make
it
sense in the
takes
lore.
crystals from you, or
something like that. I can see more.
Or if there was some way that I could, and I don't know how this would work, I can buy a negative card and put it in your thing. I think that would be interesting.
It could maybe, depending on how they did the interactivity, work with the general theme, where in the general overarching story.
What is that?
The 4 players are druids in this mystical Ferngully type situation where there's this evil spoilage thing that's destroying this valley. The Mystic Vale is being destroyed by this. And so your 4 powerful druids are going through and cleansing. But you have to be careful because if you cleanse too much, then that's when it fights back. And that's the spoilage that happens on your turn if you press too hard.
I mean, I will say that I played WoW and I've known a lot of dick druids. So I'm just saying.
They're literally made out of dicks.
Yeah.
So there's definitely room in the lore to kind of do a little bit more interactivity. I don't know. We'll see where they go with it.
Right.
But I like it a whole lot. It's definitely going to be a regular in my game night bag.
Yeah,
I think it plays quick enough and explains quick enough. It'll be a regular in my game night bag.
Did you notice any sort of like snowballing that someone who gets ahead first?
So that was actually a huge problem in my second game. The first game, like I got beat real bad, but it felt like everybody else was fairly close.
Yeah.
The second game, I ran away with it so bad that like when I finally took the last victory point, both Megan and Brian, who I was playing with, they were like, "I'm not even going to count. It doesn't even matter." Like I had almost all the victory points from the victory point pile, and I had bought several of the little purchasable victory point cards.
Okay,
I would like to try that game at some point.
Is there? Can you think of any way to combat it, like the snowballing, or just like that? That's where I would like some interactivity because. With snowballing, like I've noticed it in like Blood Rage,
like a runaway leader.
Yeah, if you have a runaway leader in Blood Rage, you'd be like, okay, well, we're all going to attack you. That'll stop you.
Yeah.
Well, you're fucked.
Yeah, which I've also noticed in Race of the Galaxy that I think, especially when you're playing with new people, multiplayer solitaire games, whoever is better at it, they're more than likely just going to win.
Yeah, and that is going to be a problem, I think, with Mystic Vale. Unless they add some kind of interactivity to it later, that'll continue to be a problem. I think that it was, in this case, the runaway leader in that game was incredibly good luck on my part and bad luck on both of theirs.
Did they spoil a lot?
Brian did a whole lot.
I think that's also from just being a newer player or someone who doesn't play a lot of games.
Yeah. Megan just had a hard time. She just didn't get good draws.
Yeah.
Like, that was the thing. Like, even early on, my starting draw was fantastic.
Right.
Like, it ended up being almost all my spoil cards were in the bottom of my deck. So it was exceptionally good luck on my part, bad luck on theirs. I think over multiple plays, I don't expect that to be a regular problem, but it definitely has the potential for somebody to just really get, a couple good draws early and get a couple good cards that then just feed off each other. So I could see it kind of runaway leader snowballing.
Yeah, especially if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah. But that's how race is. Like, I've gotten to the point when I teach new people race, I take it so easy because I could steamroll a new player, but the game would be over in a few turns and it'd be pointless. I want people to like the games I play, so I try not to steamroll.
It's already a hard enough game to learn.
I think that's one of the problems I have with Splendor is that because I have a 14 win streak is because I know which ones to go for, and I know that new people will always go for those the lower tier cards to get the Royals or whatever. I can never remember. Nobles.
Yeah.
So I always know
Barons or Nobles.
Don't care about that, and I just look. I know that they're going to go for these, and look, white's on 3 of them. Probably they're going to go for white, so I'm just going to focus on other stuff, and I can always just not steam. Well, it is usually steamroll.
Yeah. we play for second when we play with you.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I'm just aiming for more than 10 points before you finish the game.
I don't even compete with the other players. I compete with myself. Can I get double digits before Zach wins?
Right, yeah. So I think it's just one of the things that because Splendor is short enough that I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to, I just want to keep that win streak going. Whereas I think with a longer game like this, I could see it. There's just like, oh man, it's starting to get a little, but I did enjoy it when I do want to play it again.
Awesome.
And so I think that just playing with the similar match people would be the best.
Yes, definitely. Like I said, it'll be in my game night bag, which is like the highest praise I can put on a game right now.
Really?
How many appendages
not
up
really.
do you give it?
Yeah, I was going to say because
I give it 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
I don't put Rebellion in my game night bag. I don't put Twilight Imperium in my game night bag.
So when I say it goes into my game night bag, that means that it's a game that I like enough to want to play on a potentially weekly basis, which isn't the case for a lot of heavier games that even though I love them, I don't want to play them weekly. So it's a game that I'm willing to play weekly. It's a game that I feel is accessible to new players because our game night really brings in a lot of non-board gamers. Yes. And I really try to be a good ambassador for the hobby as best as I can. We've had the whole welcoming discussions in the game night groups, and I feel that it plays at a relatively good speed for the what game night typically is,
Right.
which is the more casual, less than 2 hour games. If
Right.
a game's going to be much over 2 hours, it's probably going to stay at home, with some
Yeah.
exceptions. So,
Okay.
but it goes in the bag.
In the
go in the
bag.
It's in the
Bag.
bag.
In the
2
bag.
thumbs up, as you know, since Jeff wants appendages.
I could have been index fingers.
Could have been
Oh,
index fingers.
yeah.
We were miming index fingers
Yes.
in the air.
Yes.
Plays over radio well.
We
does.
we really got to get a webcam going here.
No, not at all.
No one wants to see that.
No, I just like, hey, how's it going?
Just a middle finger at the
Yeah.
camera the whole
Yeah.
time.
All right, so Zach,
Yes.
what did you get to play that's new and awesome?
Besides
I got
Mystic Vale,
I got to
Besides
play
Mystic
another
Vale.
one of your games,
Yes, you did.
and this is Celestia.
Yes.
which I have no idea. I don't think I even saw you play this. I have no idea what
It's
this
while
game
you were
is.
trying to kill Bob.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We were playing that while we heard you yell.
During Secret
"Shoot!"
Hitler or
Yes.
the other time I was trying to kill Bob?
Oh no.
Okay.
During Secret Hitler.
During
All
Secret
right.
Hitler.
Just making sure.
Yeah. So basically, this is a 2 to 6 player game.
Yes.
And it's a light push your luck game. And so basically, and apparently it was actually re-implementing a game called Cloud 9.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. And so you have all like these 9 little clouds that your airship.
Oh, it all comes together.
Your airship is just moving to, and you guys take turns being captains.
Yes.
And so
Okay.
when you all start on 1, and they go for like 1 point, 2 point, 4 points, 6, 9, 12, 15, 21, and 25.
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Because the goal of the game is to get 50 points.
Okay.
Yes. And so the numbers on them for 1 all the way up to 12, you're guaranteed to get at least that much because you draw a card that can give you more.
There was one of the ones from 6, I only got 2 points, but it was the one that just let us push through.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So pretty much they all are that much or more.
Okay.
So
Or they'll give you an ability or
yes.
something.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically what happens is everyone has these hands of cards.
Uh-huh.
And they have all these symbols on them. And so when you're moving from one cloud to the next, it shows an amount of dice. And so it shows 2 dice. So they have these dice that are custom made. You roll
Okay.
them and they have symbols on them or they can be blank.
Okay.
And
But
so
not just a D6.
No.
Okay.
And so basically you take those dice. So say I had the 2 dice I rolled and I get an air and then a lightning.
Okay.
And so say I'm the captain. So each of you would have a choice of whether you want to abandon ship and just chill at the cloud that you're already at, or if you think that I have those cards.
And then we can go along with him.
Yes.
Thinking that he can play the card that negates the dice.
Yes, because I have to play cards from my hand to negate the dice in order to move on.
Okay.
So if you don't think that I do, then you can just bail, and then you just get to pick a card from your current cloud. But if
Yep.
I do, then I'll say I play those cards, and then we move to the next.
And you just get
But
left
you,
behind.
yeah, you get left behind. So it's a push. Do you believe that I can do it? And I can try and lie and be like, man, you guys should just bail. I'm trying to save you. You don't. I will go down with it. I'm going to take that bullet. I will go down with that ship.
Okay.
Or I can be like, yeah, guys, I can totally have. Don't worry.
What's
just
your
'cause-
advantage for bringing or not bringing people along?
So the main advantage would be everybody starts with a hand of 6 cards.
depending on how many people are playing.
Depending on how many people, but we were playing with enough where you had 6. And so the captain rotates each turn. So if everybody bails as you're the captain, but you have to, you
stop,
still have to go
won't
at least one stop past
Yes.
where everybody gets off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you almost want to keep other people with you so that the captain will keep passing off and you can bail.
Yeah.
While
So you
somebody
don't
else
want to
is
be
the
hot
captain.
potato
Exactly.
when you start
So-
running out of cards.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't
Okay.
realize until more than halfway through the game is, so say you're the captain right now, because I have to look at my hand and be like, well, it's not only do I think that you can do it, do I think I can do the next one? Because if I hang on with you and you do it, I have to stay because I'm
next
the captain.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then, and if you crash, you don't get any points. So
Yeah.
like I said, so if he jumped off at 12 and I'm like, do I think you can do 15? And then I'm like, yeah, you know what, you can. And then you fail, we don't get any points. He gets 12 or maybe even 15 points.
So there will always be someone crashing?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, in theory, you could make it all the way to the very last
That's
cloud.
true.
And then if you make it to the last cloud, which is 25, you get 25 points, half of the total you need to win.
Gotcha.
And then it goes back to 1 and starts
Good
over.
fucking luck doing that.
Never even
Okay.
saw it get to the second to last,
Yeah.
let alone the last.
Yeah.
All right. So,
So-
not an easy
No.
game to get there.
So
No.
there are some action cards that are like, I can make you re-roll like the blanks into
Okay.
something.
So, like, if I get off and then you roll a shit ton of blanks on your next turn, I'm like, no, screw that. Reroll all those blanks.
because I want you to crash
Yeah.
with all those other people.
After that point, once
there's
I'm
also
I want you to crash with all of those passengers.
so there's a jetpack that even when it crashes, you can use the jetpack to hop onto that cloud, so you still get points. And then there's also a hook that you can just push somebody off.
Yeah.
You'd be like, you know what? You stay on this cloud. Fuck you. And it's a pretty light game. It took about 30 minutes. I think if it was like a 45 to 60 minute game,
It'd be too long.
It would be too long for what it was. But
Yeah.
30 minutes, it was nice and quick. And we were enjoying it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we played with the full complement of 6 people, and it took 30 minutes. That's
good.
If that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a great filler game.
Is that going to go in your bag?
It is absolutely going to go in the game night
Nice.
bag, at least for a while.
Yeah.
You know what's
Until
not
something
going in your
supplants
bag?
it. What's that?
Grifter.
It
That's
will
going,
once
that's
I
going in
get
my
it.
bag. It's going in my bag.
It's
Is
going
it-
in my bag,
Oh,
too.
it is? Is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
What about the Kickstarter promos? Are those going in your bags
Yeah,
too?
I put them in the box.
They're going to, right there in the box. They're right there
I
in the
hate
bag.
you guys so much.
And yeah, that's pretty much all the new stuff that I've played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was nice to get to dig into a couple of our new games. I did get to unbox Imperial Settlers, but haven't played it yet.
Ooh.
Hopefully that'll be on next week's
That
episode.
was
so
the
look
big
forward to
game
that.
last year.
It was.
at Gen Con,
Yes.
I think.
They actually have some expansions for that.
They have
what I've
several.
heard are good. So I did an unboxing too of my Mansions of Madness.
Yes.
I combined it with my
Have you
first
post-
edition.
Did
Have
you?
you posted pictures?
Yeah, did you
of
ever
that
post those
nightmare?
pictures?
I can
You sent
post-
us them.
Yeah,
Post them.
I will
Yeah.
post them on there. But
Man.
what I loved is when I first, because I wasn't actually looking at the cards I was putting in,
Uh-huh.
I realized that after I put all the monsters in the things, I was like, well, I have these 6 extra figures, but I'm also 2 bases extra of big
bases.
things. And I'm like, what is going on? Am I going to have to message it? And then I actually looked through and I realized, oh, riots. The riot is one of them, and that's 3 of these guys that I had put in all this shit. And so I put them through it, and I'm like, oh, I have all my stuff. That's good.
Riot is
Yeah.
a monster in Mansions of Madness.
Yes. So I definitely had
Spoiler
to glue
alert.
all of the bases together.
Yes.
All the figures
Models
to the base.
onto the
Yes.
bases.
Uh-huh.
And the conversion kit that came in, the second edition, had new bases or new tiles for all of the old monsters. And it took a bit, but I was able to replace all of them because 4 of them, apparently the glue seeped onto
Oh,
those things, and so
no.
it took a lot more work than I would like to get those things out. I took one of them out, and like there's this giant like cardboard or like paper just rip because that was still glued to the top.
Yeah. Oh, no.
But you know, it's fine, whatever. You wouldn't be able to see it. But I have all those things in an extra bag. So I was actually able to put everything into the main Mansions of Madness box.
Yes.
The second edition one, including all the tiles from the first edition and the expansions.
Okay.
And all of the monsters from the first edition and the expansions.
Right on.
And
There's a lot of stuff.
yes, there is. And I still have the Call of the Wild box. And that's just everything from the first edition that didn't get transferred over in case we ever want to play the first edition again.
In case
Yes,
you ever.
please.
Yeah. Well, no. I'm going to have the others for that, and then you'll be fine. You'll be okay. Because that one
Oh,
is...
Yeah, I
oh,
never
because it's a
really-
one versus all.
Yes,
isn't
it is.
Okay.
So can you still play the scenarios from the first edition at all?
with all the first edition stuff, but not with the second edition
yeah, so you'd have to
stuff.
Okay, but the
re-separate
app-
it all out.
The app can.
So the app is just going to add extra rooms and include those monsters.
Okay.
And I was actually reading it up. So the first expansion is going to have the monsters from the first edition and and do another scenario.
So-
and then the second edition or the second expansion is going to have the 2 expansions from the first edition and another scenario.
So if you're somebody like yourself who already had all of the first
I
edition,
have no need to get those.
no reason to get the
But
expansion.
like Ant, he bought the second edition, but he didn't
Okay.
have the first or the expansions. He can buy those, and we will be on the same grounds.
Okay.
That's nice, at least.
That is
Yes,
nice.
I
just
feel that you're kind of missing out on some of those first edition scenario
Yes.
content.
that is true, but it also, yeah, pretty
Oh,
much.
man, because
Yeah.
I loved the first edition. I
never
really
played it
loved
enough.
being a keeper and just romping on
Yeah.
some.
Which there is none in second edition.
No,
No.
it's all app.
It's all
Yeah.
the
app.
app.
Which they're trying to do for Imperial Assault, which again, I don't know
They-
how I feel about that. I don't
app
know.
is turning into
Well,
Overlord.
there are apparently a decent amount of people that are like, I want to get that game, but I don't like. It's the people, the co-op heavy people. They're like, I like that game, but I don't want to fight someone. I would like just to.
Yeah.
And I'm certain there's a certain amount of people that enjoy being the bad guy, like
Yes.
the DM
Yes.
type
Which
people.
is where I wish. So, like, because I love Mansions of Madness, but I've only ever played your copy, and I
Yeah.
always told myself that at some point I'd pick them up. Well, now first edition's entirely out of
Yep.
print, and they only have second edition.
Yeah.
So if I end up playing it and I don't like the
app.
fully co-op app-driven version,
Yeah.
then I'm either going to have to buy it, spend a whole lot to get it on the
Yep.
secondary market, or just never purchase it. So I almost wish that it had a way to do, yes, we'll play it fully co-op with the app, or if you don't want to, here's how somebody can still play the keeper.
There is a whole bunch of shit that they did not include because
Well, I know.
Yeah,
I
so
I know it won't work.
yeah,
Which makes me sad.
that's just one of those things. And apparently, from what I was reading, it's like a lot of couples were apparently wanting the co-op stuff too.
That's fair.
Yeah, but yeah, so. It's interesting. I do want to play it soon.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Then after we do, I would actually like to do a review of it.
Oh, yes. That will definitely be one of our review ones
Yep.
that we do as a special review like we did with Rebellion.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that
Yeah.
at some
No
point.
less.
Yes.
Huh.
Ooh-la-dee-da.
Yes.
All right.
That's all we played this week.
So that
That
covers
is-
what we've been
Yeah.
playing
And want to play.
and want to play.
Or
and
just doing
Yes.
and doing
with our spare time.
Yes.
unboxings. Ooh.
Exactly. So one of the Kickstarters that I actually backed.
Yes.
So-
yeah, you were talking about backing a Kickstarter
Yes.
earlier.
So it's not an actual game, but it's actually a storage system.
Which you need a lot of.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. My current storage situation is already at its maximum, and I'm looking into getting more.
Yeah. Yeah. You sent a picture of your completely full.
Yep.
Are they actual Kalaxes?
No, one of them is, and then
Okay.
the other one is just some cheap thing that I bought.
Kalax, the
IKEA. It's the IKEA storage.
Okay.
Alright,
the
well,
box.
since-
Square storage?
Yes.
since Jeff is apparently just super clueless, in case anyone else is clueless who's listening.
Okay.
What language are you speaking?
So the Kalax
in Swedish.
Kalax.
is
It's like Scientology? Are we getting Scientology now?
Yeah,
Kalax?
it's an IKEA bookshelf storage shelf
Yep.
thing that is hands down one of the best things you can buy for board game storage.
And
Probably have
it's-
owned
Yeah,
this.
especially at the price. Like there are the ones that I've seen that are more customizable, but those cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's the square.
Yeah, it's just
storage.
a square.
It's what
and
I've got sitting right
Yeah,
out
I
there.
two by
guarantee I
four.
owned like a 5x5
Yeah,
one of those
yes.
and left it in Ohio when I moved.
Nice,
Aw.
nice. But yeah, they were really cheap to get, and it's actually funny. You can buy two 2x4s of those, and it's cheaper than buying one of the 4x4s,
Oh.
which is weird.
Wasn't there a big thing
Yeah,
about
well-
them discontinuing that?
Okay, so they discontinued one, but then replaced it with the same thing.
Okay.
It just is skinnier on the sides.
Gotcha. Because I
The
remember
wood-
it
yeah.
being real thick on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
edges.
Yeah.
So yeah, Megan and I just got a couple of those, I don't know, a few months ago. And
We were
they're
real confused about
they're
that 25
great.
foot long
Yes.
box that we thought was one singular box.
Yes,
sitting in the living
yes,
room.
yes. That,
how'd you
yes,
get that down
was
here?
that.
Yeah. That would have been interesting to see. But yeah, so this one is called BitBox, and it has 9 days left. And so what it looks to be is just a storage system.
Okay.
And so, like, basically, what they want, or what they have them for, is it looks like it collapses a lot of these games, and it actually is sort of made for the Kalax, however you pronounce it.
Kalax.
Kalax, so I was right. Okay. And so basically, it's just part of this box. It's cardboard, so it's actually sort of affordable.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I've seen some of the previous ones, and they looked nice, but you were fucking paying for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I had an eye on a couple earlier ones too that I'll
Right.
talk about when you're done here.
Right. And so basically it's all about taking all your games out of your boxes and, putting them in these filing things and, being able to label them and stuff so it's easier for you to see. But it's all about condensing, because each one of these, like one square of the Kalax, it can hold 4 to 5 games depending on how big they are.
Right.
Whereas these, you're looking at, for one square, 10 to 16 games depending on how big they are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so in some of the pictures on here, it's basically showing, like, I know people in the app, people listening can't see
go,
it.
to the Kickstarter.
go to their Kickstarter.
Yeah, go to the Kickstarter, but you can see here, like, it's overflowing on here,
Uh-huh.
whereas underneath it shows, like, they actually have an extra
Everything
row of space.
fitting.
So
Yes.
only just buy like 9 to 12 of those bit boxes.
Right. So,
fit your entire collection.
and then
Yeah.
it can come with BitBox Mobile. Since you're talking about your game bag, and I
Yeah.
know how you really like to condense some of your games.
I do.
Man, I wish I could condense games like that.
I'm a champ.
I have opinions on that, but
I have opinions.
but yeah, so it comes with this thing called the BitBox Mobile, which it looks like a portfolio thing that you can actually carry, that you will be able to condense a lot of your games as well, and it looks user friendly in terms of just holding all these games and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it looks cool, but for me, I don't like throwing those boxes out.
Yeah.
And I like how it looks on my storage. You get to see all these different games,
And
I
not
like
just-
in the colors, and you're paying for that art too.
Yeah.
When you buy that game, and so
Does that relate to your opinions on me shrinking games down?
Well, no, it's just in terms of, like, for carrying all
Okay.
this stuff. Like, here is I have a fucking duffel bag that I bring But
Yes.
and
Large.
I have condensed some of them. I've condensed illustrations.
Yeah.
Mainly because that big box is way too fucking big for it's too much. It has too much wasted space in it. What else did I condense? I think that's all I've done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
One whole game.
one whole game, and that's only because it's a waste of space.
Yeah.
But I know you've done it for a lot.
Yeah, so I've done it for essentially, so I've done 2 games with custom boxes.
Yes.
I got some great boxes from work that I used that shrink Splendor down to pretty much the smallest size I think you could shrink
Right.
Splendor down to.
No,
and,
yeah.
And same thing
What,
for
3 by
Machikoro.
6 or
Yes.
something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
if that. It's real small.
You also did it with Hanabi, although
I did it with Machikoro was the other one I did real small. The Hanabi one I got lucky in Morocco. I just found this awesome little leather pouch that was meant for like cigarette box, but fit Hanabi perfectly. And
Right.
that one's one of my favorite ones because it's this cool little leather
Right.
box that I like. Otherwise, I've done it with a few other games like my Race for the Galaxy. I got the entire base set and the first expansion to fit in the box for the first expansion. And I've done that with a few games.
I
That's
think
a little bit different.
I think that's fine because I have my Eldritch Horror and my
Yeah.
Mansions of Madness. I've been able to condense all those expansions. So the Eldritch is in 2 of the big box expansions.
Yeah.
And the Mansions is in 1.
Yeah.
Just the one regular one. And I think that's fun because like I really like how all those boxes looks.
Yeah. Now I will say, so Splendor, I got kind of, well, not really. One of the things I love that my Splendor and Machikoro fit so small. Mm-hmm. However, I do miss the box art.
Yeah.
Because that is, like you were saying, that's a huge part of buying a game.
Yes.
Like there have been games that I've bought almost entirely because they had cool box art. Like you can almost sell me on a game with the box art.
Yeah.
So I like shrinking them from a convenience standpoint, especially lighter games like Machikoro, like Splendor, that are good games to travel with. But there's a lot of other games that I would never like. I will never try to shrink Eclipse down any smaller. Like it's a huge box.
Yeah.
But it's a huge experience that fits with the box. I'm not going to try and condense it to travel.
So I did think of another one that I did, and that was Bang the Dice Game. And that's really because my box more or less got destroyed.
Yeah.
Separated.
Yeah. And so I actually was able to put it in just a little deck box, a single deck box, everything. It just fits everything. I just wrote Bang the Dice Game on it, and bam, it's good to go.
Yeah.
The smaller ones, I definitely agree. Those are more able to put them in, whereas I wouldn't try and condense Twilight Imperium or my or Game of Thrones or any of those.
Yeah, like you maybe could save a little bit of space, especially with like Game of Thrones would be trickier because it has the big board. Mm-hmm. But like Twilight Imperium, if you tried hard, you could probably shrink that box down by half. But there's no good reason to, in my opinion.
I think I put one expansion in the main box.
Oh yeah. Well,
for Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
Then I put all of the ships and stuff in like a plano box.
Gotcha.
By color.
Right. I know our friend Bob. He was able to fit both expansions into the box, and it is a full box, but you can actually fit everything in there.
Yeah. So the other 2 projects that they've already long since completed, but if you're interested in them, you can still go to their Kickstarter page and pre-order them. There was the Gamefolio system, which looked almost like, if you remember back in the days when CDs were a thing, people had the big CD like briefcases for their car. It's like that, but for games. It's a bunch of zippered pouches that you can put components in that zip up into a larger like briefcase like pouch, and then their higher tiers get into some actual like bags, some big duffel bags.
And it looked
and stuff.
nice, but as I remember, it was expensive.
To get up to the to even get up to the big bag, the main vault bag is $99.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just dealing with the small briefcase bags.
And those are like, each of those only holds one game, right?
They, I think, can hold more than one. It's not nearly as much as the BitBox.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I did like about the mobile is that if you want to go for condensing, this thing is going to be able to help you condense a lot. Whereas those, it seemed like if you want to condense it, if you want to just get rid of that box, but still have it be its own separate thing.
Yeah. So the very base set on the Gamefolio is $5 pledge, was a $5 pledge, and it got you 6 of the removable clear zipper pouches, which I think those are said to hold one like small game each. So you could hold 6 small games, and then those removable pouches could go, if you went a little higher, you could get one of the cases.
Right.
But that one way exceeded its goal. So apparently people were interested in it.
I mean, like I was interested in it until I saw the price.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's not as much an object. So
But so that one's expected to be
Yeah.
supposed to be shipping late this year. Says December 2016. We'll see.
Right.
I don't remember the last Kickstarter that shipped on time.
Right. I will say, if I would be more interested in the BitBox specifically, if people came to my place to play games.
Fair
or
enough. Yeah.
But basically, most of my gaming was in my own house, because then
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, I can keep all this up here. Oh, I want to play this. I'll just grab it real quick. Whereas I look at the actual box, and I'm like, okay, well, what if I want one of those games? Do I have to keep a BitBox handy and then put it into there?
Yeah.
And if I do that, then when I come back, should I put them back?
Yeah,
I can see a way for it to.
I don't even put away my game night bag games anymore. They stay in the bag and it
Same
stays
here.
by the door.
Yes, I feel that these aren't exactly designed for how we play,
No, I agree.
but I love the idea. I just don't think it's right for me.
Yeah. Another kind of interesting one that I didn't find about until I was looking up some stuff related to these recently. There's one that finished up about a year ago and is just now starting to get to people 3 or 4 months late. But it was BitCrates, and they are nice looking little wooden crates.
Right.
But again, it kind of falls into the same category where the way I travel with my games and the things I do with my games, I don't know that it would have actually helped me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I like the idea of some of these aids to help move components, but I don't know that I would personally use them very much.
I have so little space in my tiny room in Denver rent area that I sort of just try and I need shelving more than I need
Storage.
Maybe these would be good for you if they can condense your games into smaller spaces. You can store them easier.
Or I just need less games.
No,
Nonsense.
that's not an option.
Quit talking crazy talk. The one thing that I would really like, and I didn't think it was Gamefolio, and scrolling through here, I still am not sure. It doesn't look like the right packs. But I want a nice bag that lets me store my games horizontally rather than vertically, that I can be easily accessed without having to pull all the top games off to get to the bottom games. Like something where I can unzip the side. Like have
like a pizza box? But for games.
But for games.
Okay.
And I feel like there was a Kickstarter for one of those, but I couldn't find it.
I know which one you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Okay, so I'm not crazy.
No, I remember what you're talking about, and it was just more for carrying games than actually storing.
That would be something I'd be more interested in if it was affordable, like the right price point.
The only thing I didn't like about it is it was all about uniform games. So it was all like Ticket to Ride box sized.
Yeah.
Where a lot of games I have are slightly bigger, or they're, Splendor is a lot thinner than that one was. And I remember seeing that one and I was just like, I like the idea, but it was too constricting on the actual game size.
Yep. And so I could see that being a problem for myself.
Yeah. That's why I just took a duffel bag and I just cut out the inside borders to those side pockets, and now I just shove all my games in there, and it works well.
And I've got one of the giant frickin' bags you get at Gen Con from some of the vendors, and I fit
Solid
a bunch of
bags.
games in there.
Love those bags.
Yeah, they're heavy duty.
Well, that bag will last exactly 1 year.
Oh, no, mine's lasted over a year because I didn't get a new one. I missed out.
I missed out on that one too.
Yeah.
I had a chance, but I was just buying. Yeah, I was just buying the Eldritch Horror expansion, the small box.
Could have asked for a big bag.
They even asked me, "Do you want a small bag or a big bag?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is a small thing. I don't need a big bag. I'll just take a small." And then
you walked away.
Yeah, 40 minutes later, I'm like, "Oh, god damn it!" Oh well.
Ah, shit.
There's always next year.
There's always next year.
So
Meanwhile, all the games I bought, I was like, "Do you guys have bags?" And they're like, "Nope." I was like, "No." Luckily, I have one.
Yep. That was nice about the cool stuff one. Every time you buy something from there,
Yes.
oh, here's a new bag for you. Sweet.
Yes.
I have a lot of those bags.
Because
Those
those
bags are
don't
nice, too.
last a year.
No.
Those wear out pretty quick. But
These
they're still
years
nice.
seem different.
Yeah.
Did they? I
Stronger.
didn't really dig into them.
Reinforced.
I have multiple year cool stuff bags we can compare and contrast.
Yeah.
That'll be a special video cast
Yes.
episode where we
Yeah.
actually
The
compare
cool
and
stuff
contrast
Gen
the
Con
quality
bags.
of
Let's
cool
see, what?
stuff.
Yeah.
Quality.
So one other thing, like when I think of storage stuff, I feel like the problem with a lot of these Kickstarters for these storage things is they're too uniform. They try to be a one size fits all thing, and I feel like with board games the way they are now, where you have everything from like a relatively small deck of cards in Hanabi all the way up to, like we said, like this massive huge box of Twilight Imperium, or like Starcraft has a really big box. It can be
Fantasy Light just doesn't make those boxes like they used
No,
to.
they don't. No, they don't.
So it can be really tricky to try and come up with this one-size-fits-all storage system. So what I really like, and this is where I've kind of gone with mine, the games that I've condensed, I almost do custom for each one. Like they're slightly different boxes, and I just kind of make things do as I can. Like, yeah, I made the really nice custom Catan set for Megan, and I went out and found a nice wooden box that was the appropriate size. And I'm going to redo the foam interior to get it all to fit in that box, but I'm not quite there yet. But for the most part, I feel like if you really want to try and shrink your collection down, you know, there's some great tutorials on Board Game Geek where you can, it talks about making your own custom sized boxes with their own dimensions. So, you know, and then you can transfer the artwork from your old box to your new box and condense it that way.
Yeah.
You know, go custom with it.
Yeah. And one thing that's nice that I tried doing but did not end up well is foam core inserts for boxes. And so that way you can store a lot more in your box because you create your own storage. And some of it looks nice. I was horrible at it apparently and did not go well.
I want to say there's a lot of Arkham Horror foam core guides out there. I have a lot of Arkham Horror that I would like to condense. And then I also the laser cut stuff is actually really nice.
So I actually have one from Broken Token, the Blood Rage insert for Blood Rage.
Yes. That. Oh, okay.
Does it make sense now?
Yes.
But yeah, that one
didn't make sense till he said it the second time.
So, and it actually is going to bring up another point that I want to say after this is that because there's a lot of Kickstarter exclusive stuff, and it can fit all of it into the one box. So
that's nice.
The game that I'm going to have coming soon, The Others, Seven Sins, it's going to have a shit ton, metric shit ton of exclusives. Yeah, and I would like to be able to put as much of that into one box as I can.
Yeah. See, if it's anything like either the Zymicide or Zombicide Black Plague, I gave up on that. I have these big Tupperware tubs that hold on.
When I say
stuff.
Box, I don't mean the game box. I mean, I just want to put it in one container.
Some games with their Kickstarter exclusives definitely end up being big. You can't condense it into one box. You've got to like put them into a big tub or something.
Exactly.
So,
and then also another game I have, HeroScape.
Oh yeah, forget about that.
Yeah, it is a fucking Christmas-sized thing of, you know, like where you throw in
you could put a body in there.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's that big.
I can put another body in there. Let's just say that. No.
I love Broken Token, though.
No, yeah. Their stuff is nice.
Cha-ching.
I need to stay away from their website as much as possible. Because the Caverno one is just phenomenal.
I think we had that one in there.
A lot of them are really
do have it,
great.
right?
I do have that one, yes.
How much do you have to pay for that?
35 something,
really?
I think.
Well,
I don't think it was too bad.
49 for the Blood Rage one.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
Yours had a lot of like interlocking pieces that hold just the base.
Yeah, so
you
can
if you paint it, it's not going to scuff the model.
Yeah. So there's a little bit more intricate.
Dump donkeys in this spot.
So
nice, yeah.
So yeah,
there's donkeys in that game.
Yeah,
that's a little bit about our storage solutions. If you're interested in BitBox, like Zach said, it's got 9 days left on its Kickstarter. They are funded, so it will happen.
Yeah, I might sound a little more negative on it than I should be. It's a cool thing, and I might end up doing it. But I think it'll be for more of those games that I don't take to game night. So
special occasion stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if they come out with like a Scythe Broken Token, like fuck yeah.
Have you seen the Firefly one? It is like $180.
But it's like a whole box,
I know.
right?
It's a whole giant thing.
Fuck your old box.
Yes.
Here's a whole new box that you can put everything
They've
into.
done that a couple times, I feel.
Yeah.
They got a couple other
Lords of
games
Waterdeep has one. They had a bunch at their booth in Gen Con.
Although some of their inserts, it's like they have a Codenames one. I'm like,
why?
Really?
Why?
Really?
Although the Codenames one is, I think, for combining Codenames and Codenames pictures into one Codenames box.
I mean, maybe.
But even then, still, no. But
my, I guess, storage victory, Space Hulk, which is a fantastic board game, has a lot of models with it.
It does.
I bought the laser cut model foam for that, and that makes storing that game 1,000 times nicer.
Nice.
Because everyone has their own specific spots, and then I could put them all in those spots, and it's really easy to put away and get your 800 gene stealers that are about to murder you out of the box.
And so I will say the one problem with some of those inserts is, so I actually looked into getting the Eldritch Horror one from Broken Token. But they just keep releasing expansions for it, and I'm just like, well, it's good I didn't spend $40 or how much it is for that, because they've already had a big box and a small box after that, and it would not have fit all of that.
Yeah.
I need a small tote for Arkham.
Right.
There's a lot to that. And I feel that's almost impossible for anyone to make something that fits all of that and its expansions.
Yeah.
That's
Challenge
smaller
accepted.
than
And then even and that's like if you sleeved all the cards too,
Oh,
it'll just take
God.
up twice as much space. Apparently, Eldritch Horror has 1,900 cards now, and I'm just like, well,
Jesus.
I don't want to.
Screw that noise.
Arkham Horror has to have way more than that.
Well, yeah, because you have a lot more expansions.
There was an expansion that was just cards for the expansions.
Yeah, exactly.
Miskatonic University.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I said, BitBox has 9 days. So if it intrigues you, go check it out. Maybe back it.
Maybe
support
7 by the time you listen to this.
game,
Yes.
game things. Yes. By the time this releases, it should be at about 7.
Yeah,
We are on the 15th recording.
we are. Yeah, we're
gonna-
trying to.
Release on the 17th.
Yes, we're trying to have a 2-day turnaround instead of 5-day. Or
Now that we're done with Gen
or
Con and
4
shenanigans.
months.
4-month turnaround. Yeah.
That was only when we were starting.
I know.
We're better
I know.
now.
We are.
But yeah, so now you know a little bit about how we store our games. Feel
Yeah.
free to get in touch
don't.
with us and let us know how you store your games.
Yeah.
Let us know, send us some pictures on Twitter or Instagram of your cool custom containers and boxes for your games. You can email us. Our email is emails@milehighgameguys.com, Twitter @MHGameGuys, and Instagram is @milehighgameguys.
Yes. We got our first email this week.
We did.
We did.
Oh, Jeff, would you like to read our first email?
Yes, absolutely.
This week.
We got our first email. All right. This email comes from Jeff to emails@milehighgameguys.com. The title is Jeff is the best host. Hello! ! Jeff is the greatest. Everyone else is okay, I guess. Bye.
It's really concise. I like that.
Yes.
So
and that was sent by Jeff.
So that is the bar, dear listeners,
Yes.
that you have to meet. I trust that you can exceed it.
Oh, right.
And you can
yeah.
always look forward to me reading those emails with as much gusto as I read that one. Live on the internet.
Yes, live at the 2-day turnaround.
Yep.
So,
Live at the time.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, we've been the Mile High Game Guys. You have our contact information. Get in touch before Jeff loses his mind.
Please, please.
And as always, I've been Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
I am Jeff.
And we'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.